moments where I blend in a lot of the traits of classical singing into pretty much anything I sing, you know. Sometimes I'm accused of using too much vibrato, and vibrato is something that you find in classical music. Um, Sometimes I'll blend a little jazz with a little classical with a little soul, and that's how I make stuff my own. I create my own sound, and I encourage everybody to not get stuck on you're supposed to do it like this. I've never been that person. It's supposed to sound like this. Says who?
Like,
If you're
so you don't,
if you're creative, you create.
so
So
you're
that's what I do with
saying,
my voice.
so you're saying basically that you're, that you're, that like you're willing to like bend genres and that you don't really care
Oh,
that much.
absolutely,
Yeah, I
absolutely.
mean,
For a long time,
same here.
because you always
Yeah.
heard, well, you gotta be in a certain genre. I've heard that most of my life until it got to the point that I said to myself, why? Who says? Who made that up? Who made that rule? You know? And now I'm at a point to where, I just do my thing, you know?
Okay. That's okay.
Um, and I
Also,
encourage other people, do your thing.
yeah, also don't does the same thing.
If you want to be in a specific genre, then more power to you. But
Yeah.
if you want to be somewhat of a vocal chameleon, then do that too. And be proud of it and do it with gusto. And that's how I am. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it with gusto. And I think that comes out in my video performances. Um, have fun with it. That's the main thing.
So, uh, hmm,
What else is on your mind?
dang, yeah. I recently have been deciding that like because I can't consistently every day hit like a very resonant E2 note, like it's usually like weak and thin. Like, should I like I'm right now it's like
Well,
I'm
that's
moving
at the
on a little
bottom
bit.
of your range then. If it's very weak and
Okay, yeah.
subtle, then that's at the bottom of your range.
Yeah. So
So so continue to sing above that.
okay.
Strengthen the range that's there, and subsequently you're going to strengthen the bottom of your range. You know, understanding your proper vocal technique and
Okay.
how you
Yeah.
stand when you sing. Give yourself enough air to carry those notes at the bottom.
Yeah, and
Um, one
I'm
of the things that
admittedly I'm admittedly somewhat moving on from singing bass because it's like in the baritone range, it's like that's where my voice shines. It's like that's where I sound like that's
and
where I
that's
am proud of myself. It's like
and that's where
sometimes I
you
might
should be
be,
singing.
yeah. Say
That's
that
where you
again.
should be singing. That's where
Okay,
you
yeah.
should be singing.
And
That's your natural range.
okay,
That's your sweet spot, you
yeah.
know? It's okay to want to go deeper, but if your voice doesn't give you that, that's why I said earlier, enjoy where you are today.
Mhm.
Make the most of where you are today. And maybe one day you can get to that point you want to get to deeper. But until then, enjoy where you're at today.
Mhm.
So
And I
be a
mean,
be a great
I'm,
baritone.
huh? Say that again.
Be a great baritone. If that's where you are today,
Yeah,
be a great baritone,
yeah.
you know?
And it's like even though there were times in which my voice was a little bit lower than usual, I mean, it's it doesn't usually last long. I mean, I had to get used
You
to
mean the
like the
morning
way I
voice?
am. Say that
Your
again.
your morning voice, you mean?
I mean, sometimes it might be in the morning. I mean, sometimes it could also be in the afternoon. Like
Right.
sometimes, I mean, every once in a while, but like most of the time, my voice is a little bit low in the morning. I mean, it's yeah. And I decided to you know uh go up higher as I sang eventually because it's like that's where, because even though I wasn't a horrible bass singer, it's like I wasn't like that bad. It's like
Right,
I wasn't, it just wasn't like super exciting. Okay. So I didn't
right,
sound like amazing. Okay.
right.
It's like I didn't sound anything at all like you. Okay. And I'm still
Do you work with a vocal coach or
uh
a
you
chorus
know
teacher?
I do
Anybody?
sing in the church choir, you know.
Okay, the choir director.
Yeah.
You work with the choir director.
I mean a little bit. Yeah.
Do they know with your do they know what your ambition is for your voice?
Like what?
Do, do they know you want to expand your range? You want to get deeper? Do they know that?
I mean,
If you haven't told them, then they don't know that.
they told me that like I should just let it come naturally. I mean, and they were
Absolutely.
already
And that,
impressed
and that
somewhat.
was good advice.
Yeah.
That was good advice. I
Yeah.
hear so many people, so many guys straining their voice. And you mentioned subharmonics earlier on. So many people want to hear me do subharmonics. And I think to myself, why? You know, I'm a natural bass. But I get it. But my thing is, subharmonics is a technique. Um, and I don't know if anybody's done studies of the damage that may be occurring in the voice and the vocal cords from constant subharmonic, whatever, however that is that they do that. I don't even know how they do that. But
Yeah.
has anybody done studies like
Hmm.
after 15 years of
Interesting question.
subharmonics, this is what you sound like, you know, like
Yeah.
somebody who used to smoke, they show your black lungs. Does subharmonics negatively affect your vocal cords over time? That's what I would want to know.
Oh yeah.
Um, I mean,
And
even though it doesn't hurt when you do it, or maybe it does, I don't know. You know, I hear people say, well, you have to do it the right way. So if there's a right way, then there's also a wrong way. And if there's a wrong way, then that means you're causing damage at some level. And for me, taking care of my instrument, I don't want to do anything that's going to damage my instrument. And so that's why I avoid those kind of things, the throat singing. And now I'm not putting it down. People do what they're going to do and they want to hear it and they like it. And there's a place for all that, you know.
of course, and I'll
Um,
respect that if people want to do it. It's like if they
yeah,
don't,
exactly.
yeah,
If you want to do it, more power to you. But my thing is, for me, how is that going to affect my voice over time? Even though people probably say, well, you're already an old guy. Why does it matter? But I still have some years on me, and
yeah.
uh, and I just don't want to take the chance, you know, of sounding a certain way today where it may compromise the way I sound tomorrow or later, So that's my thing, and I think about stuff like that. I always have. How does that stuff, even though it doesn't hurt or it doesn't bother you or, it feels okay, how does that actually affect the vocal cords and everything else, all those other mechanisms going on that create sound in your voice? How does throat singing and subharmonics affect your vocal cords over time?
Oh yeah, and
That's
I did do a study on like throat singing, and it's not necessarily harmful, but like unless you do it the wrong way, of course. But like at the same
well, see,
time, it's
that's
like
what I'm
why?
saying. If there's a wrong way, then that means people are damaging themselves in some way because they're not doing it the right way,
Yeah, and also
right?
there's also another thing I want to say, and
I
that is
just open my mouth and sing, and I think that's so much better.
yeah,
you know, I don't have to think about trying to do anything or, putting my throat in a certain position or whatever. I just open my mouth and sing, and I'm okay with that.
okay, yeah. So
and I
I'm
and,
not
and I
gonna
and
do
I
like
I encourage everyone
yeah.
who sings to do that. Just open
Okay,
your mouth and sing where you are.
so I want to do like the C right below middle C. It's not very low pitch, but like it's still like in starting two semitones above there at D3. It's like that's like a money note to
For
me.
you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So like
then you
wanna
should
hear
always
me?
strive, no matter what you're singing, to
Oh yeah.
incorporate those money notes, man.
Yeah, and so wanna hear me do the around the C below middle C or perhaps D3?
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I do admit, I mean, it needs to be worked on, of course.
Yeah. We all need to work on our voices.
Yeah.
Even me. I mean, like I said, I sing every day. I practice. Scales.
Eep,
Yep. Do you do
pop,
scales?
pop.
Do you do lip trills?
I admit I don't. Do you think that should help?
I think it does. I even
Okay.
have a singing straw. You ever had a straw? You ever did straws?
I once did. I mean, it was back in the old days. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I don't use it all the time, but I have it, you know. And every once in a while I'll pick it up and blow through it for a little while doing my scales. Um and you know, I think it does at some in some way opens up your vocals. I think it does, But I've never been a proponent to suggest that you need something to get this result, you know. I would never say you need straws. I would never say you need, you know, um, to do all that other stuff. But I do say you should do scales because that's like the warm up. Do scales, the vocalese exercises, and then you do the same thing to warm down, you know, and then you rest your voice. Some people just talk too much during the day, and then they wonder why they don't have a strong singing voice, you know. Um, and then foods can also affect your vocal cord. I understand that Pavarotti, you know who Pavarotti is?
Oh yeah, the operatic tenor
Right,
from
right.
Italy.
Yeah. Well, he's deceased now, but when he was living, I understood that before he would sing a concert, he would eat this big plate of spaghetti. And I guess the spaghetti sauce somehow lubricated his vocal cords to a way in a way that enhanced his sound, you know. And so I think that I think that everyone should try to discover what works for them and what doesn't.
Okay,
Like
so
for me, one of the things that that I discovered about myself was that if I eat chocolate or dairy,
okay, I'm sorry. We're running out of time. It's like I only have two questions left to ask.
okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the second to last is what is your highest note? I'm talking about both chest voice and falsetto. In the last question, inspired by Alexander Maying, what is your lowest note? Yeah.
Well, at the time, as it stands, I just not too long ago released a an updated vocal range video. So on there, you hear my lowest and highest notes that I've been able to do now. You know, um, I don't remember what those. I think it's a C1 to a G4, G5, something. I don't know. Look on my YouTube. It's my latest video for my vocal range.
Okay, yeah. So how did you think about my notes? Even though it wasn't like unique, I mean, was the quality good?
The one you just did.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, you need to work on it. You know, practice, 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 practice. You can never
Okay.
get too much practice. Well, I take that back. You can get too much practice, but practice every day.
Hmm.
But I think you got like 13 seconds left. So,
Yeah, I mean,
but listen, I appreciate the interview, man. And I
mm,
hope I gave you some information that is useful.